Hello class, receiving students and teachers. You may sit down. Right, in your groups, you're all seated in your groups. Let's have a look at your village life. If you have been home, those who are there, receiving students, look at your village life and in your group discuss how you know it is time or it is time for the rains to come and time for the dry season to come. So how do you know these seasons are about time? So I'll give you 1 minute with you and your friends to discuss in your group. How do you know in your village or in town now, how do you know that the dry season will be approaching soon or the wet season will be approaching soon? Oh, have you heard from your parents? Are there signs? Right, let us see who will give us their answers. Could we have Bobby? What have your group come up with?
In my area, when we see that the plants are growing well and like nice and green, you know that it's rainy season, and when the plants are dying out and looking brown, we know that it's dry.
Okay, by the appearance of the plants, that we know that it is dry season, wet season. Let's have Shane and then we'll have Anna. Okay, Shane?
In my area, when there's no stars at night and the place is very hot and there's no wind blowing, we know that it's going to be rainy season.
Good answer. We'll have Anna.
In my village, we usually look at the wind. If the wind is blowing, then we know that it's going to rain. But if it's not, then we know that it's going to be a sunny day.
Very good. Okay. Receiving teachers and students, I hope you have given good answers to your teachers. Our today's topic is Earth, Moon, and Sun. Before we go through the activity, I would like each group to take note of these questions. Group 1, you will have the first question. Group 2, the second question. Group 3, the same question, the next question, and so on. So, let's have group 1 and 2, your question to discuss in your group. Receiving students, these are the questions that you will take for each of your group. Group 1 and 2, your questions for you to discuss in your group. Once you jot down your question, you start discussing. Group 3, Group 4? And group 5? The last three groups, 6, 7, and 8, you look at this question. That's group 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. Yes.
Are we allowed to tell like what people believed in like old legends about the sun? You know, where the sun came from? Stuff?
Yeah, that's what the question is. That's what your grandparents or great grandparents think the sun, the earth, and the moon were. So that's what they think. So you can talk about those things.
One white guy told me that the sun, there were two
Yeah, it's a good way of keeping record. So you can write down your answer. Oh, we have only girls here. Oh, okay. So what makes the sun move across the sky? What do you think?
We said that the sun does not move. The earth rotates on its axis, which makes the sun look as if it's moving.
Yes, we'll see. Right, your last minute. Good, some very serious discussion. Right, could we all look up this way to the front? May I have your eyes to the front and your ears? Let's go through some of the questions that, some of the answers for the questions that were given. What makes the sun move across the sky? Group 1, what did your group come up? What was your answer?
We think that the sun does not move. The earth rotates on its axis, which makes the sun looks like it's moving.
All right. All right, let's move to group 2. One member in group 2.
We think that the Earth's gravity moves the moon very slowly.
Okay. Yes, that's what group 2 have discussed and come up with. Receiving students, I hope you're doing the same. Let's have group 3. Group 3, your question?
What caused the sun and the moon to move around? The movement of the earth.
Movement of the earth. Is group 3's answer? Any more? Oh, still to continue, okay.
The second one, do they really move? They don't move around the earth.
Do they really move? No. Okay, let's have group 4. Group 4 and 5, your next. Group 4, how do we have day and night?
We have day and night when, for example, the earth spins around, stays on its axis and spins around the sun. So when it spins around the sun, for example, if we're on the left side of the earth and the USA is on the right side of the earth, and if it spins around the earth, the shadow of the earth or the sun makes the gives the USA the night and causes Papua New Guinea for the day, sunlight.
Okay, good discussion, group 4. Group 5 now, let's move to group 5. Group 5, what did you come up in your discussion? How do we have wet and dry seasons?
We have wet season because when evaporation takes place on the earth, and for dry season is when we get a lot of it from the sun.
Right. Last groups 6, 7, and 8.
Our grandparents usually, great-grandparents, they usually believe in legends about the sun, about the moon.
Let's have one from junior, group 7.
When its seasons come, they believe that the gods sent from the seasons were sent from the gods which they worship in their village.
Okay, good discussion for that group. Okay, now may I have your attention? This is what you're going to do. All those questions you will look at through the discussion in your activity today. You will be demonstrating that movement of the earth, the sun, and the moon. But before going through, could I have the runners to come and get their worksheets? How many in your group, Quarry?
5. Thank you.
Welcome, Quarry. Group 1 and 2. 1 and 2, you may combine and check, demonstrate in that area. Group 3, you have here. Group 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you have 5 minutes for you to discuss and find out how the earth and sun move. The receiving students, you may do that with your teachers. So, yes. Oh, you want to join this group? Okay. They want to join you. Yeah, true. You can join them. Yeah, your explanation. I can get the explanation, but could I see it in a more demonstration? You see, I'm the sun, I'm the moon, and who's the earth? How many moon does the earth have? Yes. Yeah, you can try out your idea how the earth moves. So they did this already. Hey, how, come on, you,
Demonstrate.
yeah. No, you demonstrate, but you're discussing and I don't know what. Are they discussing? So demonstrate. Yeah, once you have the idea of how what, okay, try to put it in a demonstration so we see how the sun moves the earth and the moon. How do you think it moves? How do you think it moves?
Sun is going to stay one place, and then the Earth is going to orbit around the sun, and then the moon is going to orbit around the Earth.
Can you demonstrate it?
Okay, demonstrate again. This is the moon.
Raymond should be sun, so we know that his sun is different.
Yeah, okay, sun. Okay.
She's the earth, she's the sun, she's the moon, and the earth orbits around in its position while the sun and the moon stays at She's the sun and she's the moon, and the earth is in the middle, and the earth orbits around, that turns around. The turning. No, it's easy.
You got the idea already? Okay, can I see a demonstration? Okay, who's going to do the moonwalk? Who's going to do the moonwalk? Okay, who's going to go? Who's the sun? Who's the moon? Who's the earth? Sun must shine. You will fry. Okay, you demonstrate so they will get it on the camera. And demonstrate so they will get it on the camera. Who's the sun? Who's the moon? Can we have different? One girl be the moon, or okay, who's going to be the sun?
Shane is going to be the sun, William's going to be the earth, and Bobby's the moon. Okay, the earth's gonna spin, but it's not gonna go anywhere around and everywhere, but it's gonna stand on its axis and move around or spin. And this is the moon. Yeah, this is the moon. The eclipse occurs after 5 years, every 5 years. So when the moon comes and comes in between the sun and the earth, it causes the eclipse. Yes, so sun doesn't move. It just stands on its axis position. Yeah. And the earth stands on its axis too, but spins beside the earth. And the moon moves, rotates between the sun and the earth. And every after 5 years, the eclipse happens.
All right, before we go into our activity, could I have one group up to the front to demonstrate to us how the earth moves and the sun and the moon moves? Okay, let's have Quarry's group. First stand up. Good, thank you. To the front. Let's move here. Others observing of what Quarry thinks. Some of you did a very good demonstration, but we'll have Quarry's group. Come to this space. Okay.
Okay, Paul Simon is the moon, Quarry is the sun, and Harold is the earth. Right now, Harold's facing towards the moon, and Harold's front is the east, and his back is the west. So when Harold spins, the other. So when Harold spins, the east goes towards the sun and the west goes to the moon. And then when he spins again, it kind of rotates, and then the cycle goes on. So the east goes back to dark and the west goes to the sun. And he keeps rotating and the same cycle goes on.
Right? Clap. Write your questions here. First question, draw the diagram of the path that the earth takes to revolve around the sun and the moon to revolve the earth. Listen, students, if you can jot the questions down. The next two questions. Does the sun move? Question 2. Question 3. What direction does the earth take to revolve around the sun? The next two questions. 4, describe the movement of the earth and the moon. 5, describe the movement of the moon around the earth. Right, may I have your eyes to the front? Let's have a look at this picture on the screen. This is the earth on the screen. You can see the arrow. You can see the arrow, the direction in which the earth spins. So the earth spins on its own axis. This is an imaginary line here. Right from the north down to the south, which the earth is believed to be on, that spins. So in this direction from east to west. So if we have a look at the globe, this is how the earth looks like. The earth is tilted. So this side of the earth is facing up. So when it spins from east to west, that is the direction. So if we have all the sun this way from the front, we do not have sunlight here at the back. So the earth rotates. The movement that the earth, when it spins, is called rotation. So the earth rotates from east to west. At the same time, the moon also rotates with the earth from east to west, but only one side of the moon is seen. So the moon moves around with it. Could I have two students to come up to the front, please? Thank you. Shane and Junior. Okay, Shane is our planet Earth. Okay, the Earth spins on its own axis from east to west, clockwise. The Earth spins on its own axis in its own axis, and the moon also orbits around the Earth. The moon orbits around the Earth. So as the Earth spins, the moon is also orbiting the Earth. Okay. Now, one more. Any question? Okay, can I have a volunteer for the sun? Who will be the sun? Let's have a girl. Okay, Riku. Thank you. This time we have the sun. Okay, sun in the middle. The earth, still spinning on its own axis, travels around the sun. The sun is fixed. It does not move. The earth moves around the sun. It orbits. That part it takes is called orbit. So it orbits around the sun. Still spinning, the sun, the earth moves around the sun. At the same time, the moon is also spinning around the earth, and together they orbit the sun. Hey moon, you're going too far. Okay, together with me. Okay. So, please. Okay. Could we have you move out? Okay. All right. Okay. Right, okay, that's no. We'll have them. Thanks for your volunteer. Yes. So, that is the way. The earth and the moon go orbit the sun. Let's have a look at this next diagram before we conclude. So in this diagram you will see the earth, the sun is in one position. Let's start from A. As the earth moves around, that is one part of the year gone, to position B. From position B, it moves to position C. So, and moves to position D. The moon here also orbits the earth. And together they orbit the sun. Any questions? No questions? Thank you. Our summary. Point number 1. Because the earth is tilted, it causes the seasons. Somebody read, somebody write. Our next summary points. The earth revolves around the sun in a clockwise direction. Last two summary points are the moon revolves around the earth from east to west. Last point, together the earth and the moon orbit the sun. Finally, could someone tell us what we looked at in our lesson today? Hands up. Messi, what did we look at in our lesson today? What do you think we looked at? What did we look at in our lesson today?
We looked at how the earth and the moon rotates around the sun, revolves around the sun, and how the seasons are caused.
So our key phrase today would be?
The earth, moon, and the sun.
Right. Very good. Today's key phrase, earth, moon, and sun. Our next lesson will be how to observe outside of the atmosphere, which we'll be looking at telescopes. Your materials are receiving teachers, if you do have. If you have a picture or a diagram of a telescope, firm cardboards or cartridge papers that will be rolled, old pair of spectacles or lens. If you have magnifying lenses, you may use lenses. With that, thank you, 8C, receiving students. Thank you, receiving students. I thank you, 8C, receiving students and teachers.